from what I read, they're working primarily on fixing the issues that they had with the Federal Reserve, uh, and that focus is probably, and the asset cap is causing revenues to continue to decrease. And so you have increasing expenses and lower revenues. That's not a good position to be in. And hopefully they are working to change those things.
Yeah. Are you you're still a shareholder, right, Dick? I mean, is that
I am.
it's a correct? Okay. So as a shareholder, why do you? I mean, you've been out for 14 years, so you have the benefit of being sort of this outside, slightly impartially. I'm sure you still have some partiality to Wells Fargo. But why do you hold on to the stock? I mean, are you banking on this turnaround? Do you see that coming as a shareholder?
Well, yes, I think it will come. I think there are fewer shareholders because they cut the dividend so much. And I think for a long time, that was a reason to wait for the turnaround, because you were getting paid to wait. So I think they lost a lot of long-term shareholders when the dividend was cut.
Dick, it's David Faber. I don't remember seeing a group quite this out of favor for this long in a while. I don't know about you. I mean, is it all just about rates at the end? Even Goldman Sachs, which, as Wolf indicated, had quite a strong quarter, really isn't doing much of anything as a stock. It's not down nearly as much as some of the big banks. But does it just all come back to rates?
Well, it doesn't come back to rates. The rates are low because there's a lot of uncertainty about the economy, and those are related. And certainly, as the Fed has said, that they're going to keep rates low forever, even if the economy improves. So that's a negative for banks. And you can talk about trading revenues, and certainly they've been good, but the market has never paid for trading revenues. It's too unpredictable, or it's too volatile. So you may get a 50 cents or $1 pop because of trading revenues, but no one is going to invest banks for a long time, at least in my opinion, and I should, based upon trading revenue. You've got to get back to non-interest revenue other than trading, and you've got to get net interest revenue. And net interest revenue is going to be a problem as long as the banks, as long as the Fed keeps interest rates low. Now, hopefully, the margin has reached bottom here, or pretty close to bottom. But the only way you're going to get if the margins stay the same, or maybe even go up a bit, the only way you're going to get more net interest revenue is by more loans. And you're only going to have more loans if the economy is strong.
Right.
And I think that gets back to, we've got to get a vaccine so that there's some certainty that we're going to have a turnaround in the economy and more employment and so on. So vaccine, I think, is the most important catalyst to see bank stocks, which are, you're absolutely right, the lowest they've been for the longest that I can remember, back into a good spot. Now, another problem is that the Fed is still considering, supposedly, eliminating dividends on banks. And so one of the reasons, again, that banks have held up to some extent through all this is that they have a high yield. And so I think it's a very negative thing that the Fed is doing. Either do it or don't, let it go. It's
don't leave it all in the
bank. And it's bad for economic confidence.
We just watched Goldman Sachs turn negative. But, Dick, to the fundamentals, though, the fact is, I mean, deposits, man, the accretion of deposits at all these big banks is pretty extraordinary. And even loan loss provisions have slowed, not to mention even some reserve releases. I mean, shouldn't one be encouraged by that as a reflection of the underlying economy?
Yes, but there's still uncertainty. I don't know of anyone who thinks that there is no issues out there with the pandemic getting worse, or the probability of that, and even if it's low, it's uncertain. And I actually think that the loan losses, the reserve for loan losses, are likely to be more than is required rather than less than is required, because of the new CECL FASB adoptions. which makes absolutely no sense. It's increasing the cyclicality of the banking industry, not reducing it. And that's another negative that should never have occurred, because FASB is making a very big mistake by forcing CECL on the banking industry at any time, but particularly at this time of uncertainty.
Dick, what sort of bank, in terms of lines of business, seems to be best positioned in your view to weather the next 6 months to a year? Is it a bank like a Goldman Sachs? Is it a bank like Morgan Stanley, which seems to be transforming its business with the Eaton Vance and E-Trade acquisitions? I mean, what sort of bank, in terms of size and shape, would you favor?
Well, I've always been in favor of diversified financial institutions. No one knows what's going to happen. You can have good trading, you can have bad trading. You need to be diversified. And so I think the J.P. Morgans of the world, the Bank of America of the world, is the best place to be, because the consumer will come back. The economy will come back. And in the meantime, they still have trading revenues, they have investment banking revenues. And so being diversified, unless you're a trader, which I'm not, being diversified is the best place to be as an investor. And all of those well-diversified banks pay high yields. And so, the stock can go up and down. You're still making a reasonable return at a zero interest rate. And that's who I favor.
All right. Dick, great to speak with you. Thanks for your time. Richard Kovacevich.